Kevin with some ice to work with. Bayaranta on his back. Pass across, shot, score! Holiuso puts the Gauchos in front. Curling with the puck now for Ockfish. Shot through traffic, he scores! You can feel it building. Picciotto across for Shin. Shot. Glove save by Nora Penn.
Oh, that's an incredible save from Penn.
Holiuso throws the front save. Rebound. Score! Justin Goleta. He a guy a thumping hit. Deep skating. Duncan Cadeto. Tip. Save. Rebound. Score! Kevin Mooney gives the Gauchos the overtime win. And with a new year, it only feels like the beginning of a new season for ice hockey at UCSB as the Gauchos continue their 2016-17 campaign, the inaugural in the ACHA Second Division, as they begin the 2017 portion of their schedule by hosting another UC side after earlier this season seeing the first ever meetings between the Gauchos and the University of California. The Gauchos and the University of California, Los Angeles. Tonight, it's the Gauchos and the University of California, Santa Cruz. Well, hi everybody, Eric Evelhoch here with Kyle Nicolas. This is the Center Ice pregame show. And Kyle, did you get everything you wanted for the holidays? I know I'm happy to be back here in 2017. It's all I could have asked for.
Absolutely. Happy New Year to you, Eric, and Happy New Year to those of you listening out there. I know we're kind of probably pushing it a little bit on that whole Happy New Year rule. I think I heard it's supposed to be like about 2 weeks. I think we might be pushing a little beyond that here. But nonetheless, it's good to be back out here for the first broadcast of the year. And it's good to see the Gauchos back out here with the staff that they currently have. It can be kind of difficult with these long breaks for teams to come back together with the same staffing, with the same effort, with the same cohesion, the same chemistry. And we're going to see some pretty sharp changes to ice hockey at UCSB here starting today. They are playing this one a little bit shorthanded compared to the way they usually play.
And it's not something that UCSB has not seen the entirety of this season. There have been a couple games where the Gauchos have been without some key players after going 6-5 over their first 11 games of the season, losing their most recent contest when we were last on air from the Isoplex in Simi Valley, falling to rival California Lutheran University by a 7-4 final. The Gauchos, Kyle, will be out the services of 5 players tonight. 4 of them who have the potential to show up later this season, but one that is going to be a critical piece that currently is dealing with a lower body injury that every specialist he's gone to hasn't been able to tell him how to best deal with it. And by not having your leading goal scorer in Cooper Spears for the start of the second part of the season, that poses a big question for this Gaucho squad.
And ice hockey at UCSB has really grown to rely on the scoring talent, the offensive pushing, and the momentum-changing skill of Cooper Spears this season. Not having him for the remainder of this year is going to be a devastating loss, which means the UCSB is going to really have to step up in terms of the balanced offensive attack that they have shown on numerous occasions. They have the depth there once all the players show up, but again, he is not the only player that is going to be missing here this afternoon.
Cooper Spears leads the team with 12 goals, also 16 points. We'll have the opportunity to speak with him a little bit during the second intermission on our broadcast as we continue on with the Center Ice Santa Barbara pregame show. Center Ice SB, spelled the Canadian way.com is the website. A brand new hockey and figure skating retail showroom in Santa Barbara County, located in Goleta, just minutes from Ice in Paradise at 7127 Holster Avenue, Suite 8 in Goleta. Call Center Ice at 805-770-7970. It's unfortunately been what goes with the territory of having multiple hockey sport players on this team, and also knowing the rich history that UCSB's roller hockey program has, Kyle. But once again, it is the roller hockey duo of Kevin and Kyle Mooney who also will not be here for the Gauchos. UCSB also with a pair of first-year players who are not going to be in town for this game tonight. Michael Herlihy and Hunter Van Duzer each going to be unable to make it for the contest tonight. So without those three critical scoring pieces, who do the Gauchos turn to?
And the Gauchos are inevitably going to turn to the line that has probably been the most consistent all season long, the line with Jesper Damgaard and Mitch Poliuso on the wings, centered by the captain, Justin Goldzer. That line is still intact. They are here. They're in good health. Expect UCSB to rely on them for a large chunk of their offensive firepower here this afternoon. They are a line that it seems like every time the Gauchos and Coach Scott Hires have needed someone to step up and really give this team what a lot of NHL coaches would call a momentum shift. A line or a shift where the Gauchos go out, they get possession of the puck back, they work it deep, and the way that line plays, what a lot of defensemen, a lot of goalies, and a lot of coaches like to call heavy hockey, a lot of body contact, a lot of cycling, a lot of the type of style that in their heyday the Anaheim Ducks top line of Ryan Getzlaf, Corey Perry, and Bobby Ryan like to play. Heavy cycling, lots of body contact, and wear you out simply by forcing you to have to play in your own defensive zone. That is what that line has done so well all season long. They've gotten a lot of success out of it, and UCSB is going to need that success to continue here today.
And it almost really changes the feel and make of this UCSB team, Kyle. At times in the first portion of the season, if you will, the Gauchos so often saw when they needed a big play to be made, it was their skill players who would come through for them. I think of the 4-goal performance that Cooper Spears had in the first game of the season against Santa Rosa Junior College. I think of the overtime game-winning goal scored by Mooney, where it's just a momentary flash of individual skill. It almost is going to force the Gauchos to be those assistant coach Steve Hines types, if you will. Bring your lunch pail to work, get ready to work in the corners, and get ready to make life difficult in front of UC Santa Cruz goaltender Casey Wood.
And I think no player better exemplifies that sort of effort than what we have seen from someone who probably did not appreciate the Christmas break coming up exactly when it is, and that is Jaguar Lawrence, who came into that break on absolute white-hot fire for ice hockey at UCSB, had scored in 3 straight games to propel himself into one of the goal-scoring leader positions on this team after being one of the last players to even get his first goal of the season. UCSB is going to need another explosion like that from him. But the way and style that Lawrence plays this game, where you can use him up and down the lineup in virtually any role you need him to, really sets him up for success when UCSB needs it.
Interesting line combinations that head coach Scott Hires and the aforementioned assistant Steve Hines, as well as Ben Brecker, are going to be going with tonight, Kyle. By not having those 5 players, UCSB now limited to a 3-forward line, 2 defense pair setup, and this is going to put a lot of emphasis on the back end. The likes of Evgeny Slasenko and Eric Valois, who have just been such a steady duo as the season has worn along, but also Andrew Vieira and James Blount going to be called upon as that second pairing. We've seen Christian Okpish in a defensive role at times. He's going to be playing as a forward. Guess who else is going to be playing as a forward? Dimitri Piagai getting a slot in the forward lines for the first time since he was a junior. That's going to be fun to see.
That's going to be real interesting to see, particularly with the forecheck. And we know that Piagai is no stranger to playing the body contact style of game. Just waiting to see the first shift where he gets in on top of some defense back in behind the Santa Cruz Banana Slugs net and lays that body on to try to knock that puck away from a defenseman. It's going to really force the Santa Cruz team to keep their head up in order to keep that puck moving out smoothly.
And Kyle, this Santa Cruz team is in a spot where UCSB was for several seasons, with all of the concerns about the old ice sheet in Oxnard not really having a local place to play. This Santa Cruz Slugs side came together last year and competed as an exhibition type team, if you will. A group of players who love the sport at Santa Cruz, but really a team without a league. That is no longer the case, as a snazzy look on this squad. They're playing in the PCHL, and they've been going up against some competitive sides. They've taken on Santa Rosa Junior College much in the way that UCSB has. They've also seen games against Stanford as well as San Francisco State.
And I believe San Francisco State is the only one that we have a confirmed win for this team. So definitely the growing pains of a younger program have been on display for UC Santa Cruz this season, but nonetheless, everyone experiences these sort of first-year woes. It's very difficult, as the Gauchos themselves are experiencing this year. It's very difficult to come into the ACHA. It's a very high level of hockey, and not to mention the talent around them. So for a lot of these local games that they've had to face is very, very good up in Northern California. Ice hockey at UCSB struggling the two games that it went up for, and really Santa Rosa Junior College giving them a lot of trouble as well. All 4 games of that season series, except for really probably the second one, which turned into a blowout pretty quickly. Other than that, the other 3 times that those teams met this season were very hard, close, well-fought games until probably right about it, somewhere in the third period towards the very end. So a lot of experience, some good learning lessons for ice hockey at UC Santa Cruz this season. We'll see how that fares coming into this one, as well as we get ready for the starting lineups and national anthem here this afternoon.
Thank you for joining us on the Center Ice Santa Barbara pregame show. Center Ice, a brand new hockey and figure skating showroom in Santa Barbara County, located in Goleta, just minutes from the Ice in Paradise facility at 7127 Hollister Avenue, Suite 8 in Goleta. Call 805-770-7970 for Center Ice SB. And Kyle, we would be remiss if not making mention of the goaltending matchup tonight. For the first time since the game played between the Gauchos and UCLA, Nora Penn is playing with a bit of a net here. It's good to see Brian Scullion back on the roster after what looked like was a just potentially devastating lower body injury. Good to see that he'll be out there and giving Nora some backup after just being an absolute workhorse through the first half of the season. Ms. Penn between the pipes for the Gauchos. And
Nora will get the start. She will get the net here this evening, but having that safety net you alluded to with Scullion back on the bench playing the backup role will definitely give her that little bit of some extra peace of mind of knowing that if something were to happen and it were to turn into another situation like what happened up at Berkeley, there is some relief in the offings for a goaltender, and that really could help with the confidence as well.
You could see the confidence, you could see the good spirits on the faces of all the players as they came into Ice in Paradise tonight. We'll be looking forward to bringing you tonight's contest after this. The packed stands here at Ice in Paradise settling in for what should be a good one between ice hockey at UCSB and the UC Santa Cruz Slugs. Myself, Eric Evelhoch, my color commentator, Kyle Nicolas, our cameraman, Jesse Gutierrez, and our technical director, Alina Portillo. Happy to be with you here for the first game of the 2017 calendar year for ice hockey at UCSB as the Gauchos look to pick up their 7th win of the season against a UC Santa Cruz Slugs side. There's a confirmed 1-4-0 coming into tonight's contest and played yesterday against California Lutheran University. No result able to be gleaned from that game from either of the sides. We take a look now at the starting lineup for both teams. We already previewed the goaltending matchup with Nora Penn getting the nod for ice hockey at UCSB. It's 5'6" Casey Wu from San Diego who will start for the Slugs. Head coach Blake Mooney for UCSC sends out a forward line that looks like this. In the middle, Captain Jared Penner with wings Robert Lyons and Kevin Durney, the defenseman, Thomas Bryant, and Mason Hanford for the Gauchos. You already know the top three grinding forwards in Poliuso, Goldser, and Damgard with Valois and Slasenko, the defense pairs for the Gauchos, who skate left to right across your radio dial in this first period. And right from the jump, the Gauchos pick up right where they left off. Justin Goldser works it out in front and sweeps it home 16 seconds in for the 1-0 lead.
And coming off of a long, almost 2-month break, that is a dream start for ice hockey at UCSB. Justin Goldser does well to get to a puck that pops out in front. No one from UC Santa Cruz able to get to it quickly. Justin Goldser plays Johnny on the spot, gets the beneficiary of the puck put out in front. I believe it was put out by Damgard as they chase that one down back behind the net. Goldser does well with the hustle play, and UCSB has the early 1-0 lead.
For Justin Goldser, it is his 7th goal of the season. Gauchos going to have to make up for a lack of scoring touch with Cooper Spears and the Moonies unavailable for UCSB. Puck picked up in the high slot. High wrister by Poliuso. Screams high at the right-hand blocker of Casey Wu. Gauchos set up in the offensive end, worked forward by Slasenko for Damgard, who drifts it behind the net, too far for Poliuso. Thomas Bryant plays it up to the blue line, held in for a moment, and then ultimately swept forward by Cameron McKean. Valois will rewind in his own end, the first season here with ice hockey at UCSB. He also has ACHA experience from his time at UC Davis as an undergrad. Piegai dropping the puck off on the far wing for Akpish. His shot off the blocker, popped sky high. Official loses sight of it and says we'll have an offensive zone face-off for the Gauchos.
And of note in terms of talking about offensive threats for the Slugs in this one, keep an eye out for number 13, Junyon Mock, who played for the San Diego Gulls U18 team back in 2014-2015, registered 20 points in his 16 games there through the 3 confirmed games this season, 8 points in those 3 games. So definitely an offensive threat for the Gauchos to keep an eye on.
We'll alert you when number 13 in Navy is on the ice, is behind the net. Akpish twisting free from the defensive Yakel, puts it in front, chipped over top. Off the stick of Barone, Piegai will send it back to the line for Vieira. Work for Barone in the near corner, fed to the slot, stubbed off the stick of Akpish, feed backdoor, gets through Piegai, but held in at the line. Blount's seeing eye shot, bounces to the near corner. Vieira activates for Barone, tied up along the near side boards by Augustine Munoz, and unable to clear as Piegai pushes it forward for Barone. Barone dips the shoulder on the drive, glove save, rebound, score! Piegai pops it home like a seeing eye single, and the Gauchos lead it 2-0 on the first score of this season for number 91 in white.
And if you watch that one go in, you would have a hard time believing that that was Dimitri Piegai's first goal of the season. A beautiful bat out of mid-air. That is not easy to do, particularly when you are not used to hitting targets with a tiny little stick like most hockey players are. But nonetheless, the gamble of putting Dimitri Piegai up front pays off early for Coach Scott Hires. UCSB with a 2-0 lead out very quickly in this one.
Just over 2 minutes played. Piegai, his first of the season, assisted by Tyler Barone. For Barone, that'll be his 7th helper, as on the carry-in, Mock chips it to the area. On the second try, kicked wide by Nora Penn. Behind the net, Valois will retrieve. Slugs posture up on the forecheck, but a breakaway pass for Jaguar Lawrence. Shoved off the puck by Thomas Bryant along the near side boards. Hyman comes crashing in, knocks the puck free for Jag. His feed in front was sticked away by Wu, and now Thomas Bryant leads the charge up the near side wing. Dribbles a shot in on Penn, and she easily sticks it to the mesh, up over top the glass, back behind for the defensive zone faceoff. Kyle, you notice it's a little bit of a different look here at Ice in Paradise. White Christmas lights lining the top of the rink.
I kind of dig it. It's a little bit of a festive look that was added while we were away for the about 2 months, but I kind of like the little artistic look that they've got going on here. Gives the rink a little bit of a winter wonderland type look.
If the Canucks can have those stupid light-up stanchions, then UCSB can surely have Christmas lights across the top of the glass. Gauchos control in neutral ice as Slisenko plays forward for Goldser. His goal just 16 seconds in gave the Gauchos the first of the two that they put to the back of the twine already. Damgard behind the net for Goldser, back in front to the line. Slapper nicely blocked in front and played free by Cole Pollard, but held in at the line. Pauliuso in front, tipped, saved by Wu, rebound still sitting there, and Pollard, I think he knocked it into his own net. A diving play to try and help the defenseman as both Goldser and Damgard were lurking on the far side of the post. We'll give the goal to Mitchell Pauliuso.
I believe
he had
that's
a
who's going
stick
to get
in
it.
there fishing too. 3-0 Gauchos, 3:28 into the game.
I would say I'm not sure if Pollard knocked that one in or if it was Mitch Pauliuso who was at the front of the net sniffing around there. Nonetheless, just a rebounding loose puck that Casey Wu is just unfortunately not able to get the glove on top of. Made a couple pretty solid plays in his crease to interrupt a couple passes that went through, but unfortunately no one takes the third one away, and Pauliuso's there banging away. Like I said, I believe he's going to be the one that winds up getting the goal, and he almost gets another one there hitting the post on the backhand.
Gets his own rebound, draws, and he scores on the backhand. Got Wu fishing on his wallet, and it's 4-0 UCSB.
And this one's already starting to turn strongly in favor of ice hockey at UCSB. Mitch Pauliuso on that last play. Just no one in Navy coming out and stepping up defensively to try to take him away from it. He had a clear path to the top of the crease. Casey Wu has probably got to be asking his defense, hey guys, can I get at least someone to go out and put a body down on Pauliuso? Easier said than done. Pauliuso very adept at playing that physical game as well, but you got to slow the man down somehow.
Goals 6 and 7 of the season for Pauliuso come a matter of seconds apart. Off the face-off, it's played out to neutral territory where Slisenko touched it forward for Piagai, who does his best to toe and hold the line. Penner gives it away in the slot. Shot hit the underside of the crossbar. I think Barone may have a case that had hit the mesh netting underneath, but Gauchos just continue to pour the pressure on this Santa Cruz defense. Barone back to the line. Valois swings for Slisenko far post. For Piagai, backhands in front, cleared away by Bryant, and now Mock will skate it through the neutral zone in up the left wing. Stops at the top of the near boards, then is just sandwiched there by Valois. Looking for help, it's sent back to the line for Bryant. Barone tried to chip it by him, no luck. Mock takes a heavy hit trying to lay that to the high slot. Jared Penner, team captain, will go chase it into the corner. Swung out in front, Barone breaks it up for Slisenko behind the net. Will work for Piagai along the far side boards. Piagai drops back for Gino, and Slisenko angles it off the near boards for Ockpish. Ockpish into the slot for Barone, has it stick checked away at the moment of truth by Cole Pollard. Ockpish for Barone behind the net. Barone back to the line for the fresh Gaucho defense. Vieira. Pass across, stubbed off the stick of Hyman. Comes back for Gregg. He takes a heavy hit in the high slot from Cameron McKean, and the Slugs able to get the clear. Curled back in behind for Cole Pollard to touch up, despite forward pressure from Dominic Calcio. Heavy hit laid in the far corner by McKean as Calcio swings it around, looking for Lawrence, but Murphy played it free for a moment. And now will chip it to the line, but no further than Vieira as it gets lost in the skate of Lawrence, so he'll just twist it back for Blount, who angles for Andrew Vieira to backhand in up the near side glass with 13:45 to go in the first period. Gauchos by 4. Lawrence for Calcio, who's tied up behind the net by Dakota Yackel. Calcio tries to kick it free from a pair of Slug sticks, sent to the line where it's held by Vieira. Vieira drags around Murphy, one-hands it into the right corner, and Lawrence is shoved off the puck, but Hyman backhands it behind the cage. Pollard intercepted it, but Calcio came away with it back to the line, and it skips through James Blount back out to neutral ice. All UCSB offensively in the early going here as Yackel out of San Francisco angles it off the near side boards for Murphy, who tries to switch, and the Slugs just hoping to get some fresh personnel out here as the top line is back out for the Gauchos. Damgard digging with Bryant in the near corner. Help comes from Hyman, but Murphy skates free for Santa Cruz. Stretch pass, able to connect with McKean, but had it sticked away in neutral ice as Jaguar Lawrence dangles through the high slot. Couldn't get it past Bryant. Played to the line, nice stick by Valois. Damgard gets it back for Lawrence. Can't work his way through two navy blue shirts as Slasenko. Pass intercepted by Bryant in the right corner, and he will just pitchfork this one out into the UCSB end. Change of personnel completed for both sides. Here's that high forecheck from Santa Cruz, but galloping through the neutral zone and losing the puck at the last second. Golzer wins the puck battle for Poliuso. For Bryant, sticked it away. Golzer back to the line. Valois, slap pass, shot, save made by Wu, and it chips through. 5-0 Gauchos.
An unfortunate play for Casey Wu. He got the blocker on it, just unfortunately didn't quite get enough on it to direct it over the top of the crossbar onto the top of the net. Trickles down just in front and just bounces its way over the line. Justin Golzer will get credit for this one. UCSB now at 5-0 here early. A fast start for the Gauchos. Nonetheless, some good defensive play has been occurring for the Slugs in this one. They have not made it as easy as the scoreboard sounds, but definitely UCSB in the driver's seat.
It's officially given to Poliuso, but I trust your eyes, Kyle. You're much closer to it. It'll be the second of the game for Golzer. As Pollard takes a hit in the neutral zone from Valois, and the Gauchos are going to go to the penalty kill for the roughing penalty on the molecular engineering grad student.
Smart player, not necessarily the smartest penalty to take on that one right there. Hands right square in the numbers. Definitely looked like a little bit of a retaliatory penalty, and with the score winding up the way it is very well known that officials will frequently crack down on a lot of the unnecessary physical contact to try to keep the game in line. So maybe not the smartest of penalties there for Eric Valois, but nonetheless, here we go.
Piagai dragging in behind the net. Mock tries to work the puck free from him. Good work along the end boards from Piagai. Tried to backhand it to the line, hit the stick of Yackel, but Piagai still possesses. Piagai scored the second goal of the game for the Gauchos, and now will angle this one out so UCSB can control in their own end and chip some additional time off the Valois roughing minor. Mock behind the net, angles forward for Yackel. Yackel stops up along the hash marks of the near side boards, plays back to the line, takes the return feed, cranks a slapper that Penn gobbles up, confidently positioned at the top corner of her crease with 10:29 to go in the first.
And as a goaltender, especially in games like this when you don't see a lot of rubber, those are the types of shots that you like to see. No traffic from a good distance out, something that she can get out, get set, get square, and maybe not have to worry about having to make that blue chip 10 bell save that goaltenders occasionally are needed to or relied upon to come up with. Those are really difficult when you haven't seen a lot of rubber very
there's
quickly.
A great one she makes on Murphy on the rebound, out screaming at the top of her case. And Penn is able to hold her ground.
And Charles Murphy was lurking around at the front of the net and almost was the beneficiary of a fortuitous rebound that bounced right off the chest of Penn. Penn, again, very alert, making a reactionary save. Good to see from a goaltender who hasn't seen a lot of shots yet this game.
You have to figure Murphy would especially appreciate the opportunity, but here's one for Lawrence. Breaking in, save made by Wu, and a great job on the backhand away by Cameron McKean to clear the rebound that was knuckling and hanging there perilously close to the post.
Just like Dimitri Piagai scored the goal earlier, you see Santa Cruz using that same hand-eye coordination to this time clear one out that may have just had enough to trickle over the line again.
Nice blocker save on Hyman, angling it into the netting back behind. Boy, Penn made 2 tremendous saves on Charles Murphy that he really created for himself off the faceoff. And as I was saying before, Jaguar got his faceoff chance. Murphy's from San Luis Obispo, so you know he's certainly going to want to stick it to UCSB. Gauchos down to just 20 seconds remaining in the Valois roughing minor. Lead it by a fistful. And Poliuso on the forecheck. Angled off the puck. McKean enabling Pollard time to make the play up the near boards, but a giveaway to Poliuso. Save made. Poliuso curls around the net. Couldn't get the stuff play at the far post to go. Penalty is over as Poliuso takes on a man to get free. Poliuso dangles. Bogart, who was on the receiving end of the Poliuso punishing hit, gave him a stick tap for it after the fact as puck comes in the near corner. Barone plays back to the line for Valois. We've seen that he can really crank it. And another penalty coming up on the Gauchos here as I believe that's Dominic Calcio who's going to be called for the trip, taking down the towering 6'4" defenseman Mason Hanford.
And Casio getting a little bit just, I guess you can say a little bit trigger happy on that one, recognizing the shot coming through. Hanford stepping out to try to cut it off. Casio going for the stick lift, but unfortunately got stick, legs, skates, and a lot more with it in order to take down Hanford. So UCSB taking 2 straight penalties, not necessarily the type of discipline that Coach Scott Hires is going to want to encourage, regardless of the 5-0 scoreboard here with 8:53 to go in the first period, giving the opportunities now to UC Santa Cruz to try to get this one back a little bit more towards their direction.
And in fairness to Calcio, that's a lot of legs that you have the opportunity to make in contact with if you're dealing with Hanford. Good head of speed for Mock on the carry-in. Change-up shot that Penn makes the save on, holding the far post well. This will be slapped around and out. Hops the stick of Thomas Bryant. Switches over for Penner. Penner will push it forward from Marone, gives back to Kevin Durney. Durney stood up by Valois, but it's played free back to the line for Bryant. Bryant over to the near side boards for Mott. Team leader with 7 goals, number 13, Junyan Mott. But Bryant has it for the moment. Looking for a place to go with this, just trying to open up the Gaucho penalty killing box. 1 minute kill. Yackel curling. Fakes the slapper, will give for Mott. Back for Yackel on the one-timer, misfires, and the Gauchos able to get it down the ice, and fresh troops to try and kill the remaining 45 seconds. Mock on the recoil, and a delayed penalty coming on the Gauchos here. Penner across the high slot, gives it up for Mock. Extra skater is on for the Slugs. Bryant waits for traffic, slap pass to the bottom of the far circle. Taken from there by Murphy. Gets his own rebound. And the slapper from the top of the far circle by McKean. Confidently gloved by Penn, but 14 seconds of 5-on-3 coming up here.
And for the life of me, I've never really understood why teams bother to take the time to skate the puck up the ice, get the goaltender off, and then go with what's a 6-on-4 power play rather than give it away and automatically take the 5-on-3. Because at this point, I think that kind of reduces a little bit of that excellent scoring chance that UC Santa Cruz has earned here now. Like you say, 14 seconds of 5-on-3 to kill for UCSB. Coach Scott Hires has got to be probably a little bit annoyed at the discipline UCSB is exhibiting here. Definitely these are the instances where you want to step up and really make sure that your goaltender doesn't get put under siege, which appears she is right off the bat in this one.
Cameron McKean trying this stuff play at the near post, and his continued digging certainly met with dissent from the Gaucho defense. You know, this is a circumstance as just 10 seconds come off on that now. UCSB leading by 5 has to realize that they have to keep their nose clean with the officials. I hate saying this, but in a game like this where the Gauchos have been such the better team when the teams have been at 5-on-5, don't give the officials a reason to give the opposition an opportunity by doing something even remotely borderline.
Yeah, you definitely want to keep your nose clean in situations like this as well. You don't want to risk the possibility of, any additional suspensions, any additional supplemental discipline, as we got a rush coming up ice here.
Damgard in, draws, and has it swept away at the moment of truth. Like he was trying to postage stamp Wu with that.
And it looked like the butt end of Wu's stick is what inevitably got that poke check away eventually. So don't really ask how so often as they ask how many. That was a good one there for Wu.
Penner on the carry-in for the Slugs. Played back to the line for Mock. 5-on-4 for another minute. The shot deflected in front, and Santa Cruz scores. The captain in front, Jared Penner. They're blocking out the sun. I don't know if he got the tip on the shot from Charles Murphy, but it's a power play goal, and the Slugs are on the board with 6:05 to go in the first.
And you can see a little bit of some angst on the face right now of Scott Hires, not happy at the fact that a game in which really goaltender Nora Penn probably could have had a shutout going in this one if the defense in front of her would have held out and really kept their heads on in terms of discipline for the rest of the game. Not going to be too happy about that one, but we'll see how UCSB responds here going forward. Nonetheless, a great shot from Murphy. Again, unknown whether or not that one was deflected on the way in, but I'm sure we'll probably find that out a little bit later.
Icing the call here. So the Gaucho penalty killing, which has been okay all season, now 2 for 3 tonight.
And that has been a bit of a sore spot for ice hockey at UCSB. The defensive game has been fairly good 5-on-5, but the penalty killing has really left a lot to be desired, and so far here this evening, only about 66%.
Bryant plays the puck forward for Penner. Takes the hit to make the play from Piagai as Slisenko angles away from Kevin Durney. And will backhand it forward for Piagai. His sweet pass hits the stick of Ockpish. Christian for the late arriver. Save made by Wu. Barone trying to stuff. Still can't get it over the right pad of Wu. Ultimately behind the net for Piagai. Pinballs around. And Bryant finally able to sweep it off the near side boards and lead the charge out. Bryant takes the heavy hit on the play from Valois as Slisenko twists it behind the net. Barone, stretch feed intercepted at the red line by Bryant, played forward for Mock. Screams a wrister over top the bar. Chip to the line by Barone, off the boards to himself. And Barone angles wide on Yackel. Feed to the slot. Score! Cosio filling the center lane late is there for his 3rd goal of the season, and the Gauchos have restored the 5-goal advantage.
Beautiful recognition from Tyler Barone on that play to see that he did not have the best of scoring chances coming in. UC Santa Cruz did well to defend him as he came screaming through the neutral zone with speed. So instead, he pulls up and he lets Cosio go into the open lane in the middle of the ice, hits him with a beautiful pass, and he's not going to score many that are much easier, Cosio. Beautiful setup from Barone, great finish from Cosio, beautiful goal from ice hockey at UCSB.
6-1 Gauchos with 4 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the first period. Gauchos looking for more as it's chipped past Yackel. Sent to the line, but held in by Vieira. Vieira skates down to the bottom of the face-off circle, gives it up behind the net for Lawrence. Tries to put it in front for Cosio. Good stick by Wu, forces Dom to give chase far boards and play for Lawrence. Puck chipped free and sent out. This one will not go far enough for icing as Blount is back to retrieve for the Gauchos. Lawrence plays it forward. Hyman, shot, stick save. Sent to the line for a shot that misses the far post from Blount. Vieira holds as Damgard with it behind the net. Damgard to the slot. Shot blocked. Comes for Damgard. Top of the near face-off circle. Switches to the opposite point. Damgard on the return feed. Scores! Nice 1-2 from Vieira and Damgard. Touchdown Gauchos, 7-1.
And UCSB just showing their superiority with passing on this play, moving the puck around the offensive zone beautifully, and what a strike of a pass from Vieira to find Damgard wide open in the circle. Not a chance for Casey Wu to get all the way across and take that one away. Beautiful setup play yet again. UCSB just showing the firepower they still have even without their top scorers in this one. 7 goals in the first period here tonight.
Third goal of the season for Jesper Damgard, and you can be sure they're happy about that in Kristianstad, Sweden. As now Pauliuso, forward for Goldserve. Goldserve, tip play. Damgard didn't get enough of the stick on it as McKean sends it around. Bogart couldn't clear. Slapper from the line, stings off the heel of his skate of Bryant to the near boards where Pollard will pick it up. His pass too far for Bogart, and Valois will recoil in the far corner of his own end. Tries a switch pass, good stick from Goldser to dig it free, and now he's up 2-on-1 with Pauliuso. Pauliuso to the front, save made by Wu. Skies a pass over top to the far side boards. Bogart couldn't get his stick on it. Second try for Cameron McKean, ultimately able to get it out with 2:15 to go in the first period. Gauchos scored the first 5 goals of the game. Piagai with Bryant stepping up on him. Now another chance to make the play, and again, Bryant seals it away. Piagai touches in, can't get it past Yakel. Now Pollard takes a big hit from Slasenko at the red line as the puck played forward for Akpish. Tipped it towards the middle with nobody home for UCSB. Mock carries in his shot into the breadbasket of Penn, and she'll hold for the draw with 96 seconds to go in the first.
And it's pretty easy in games like this to sort of step down on your effort, take things down a notch, and maybe let a few bad habits creep into the game. UCSB started to exhibit a few of those little bad habits. Most notably, you could see with that last pass out into the neutral zone, not necessarily the smartest decision, recognizing that no one was there. So Coach Scott Hires will probably have a talk with the team about that and the discipline here coming up at the first intermission.
Curling shot. Penn made the first save, and it pinballed in. Penner, I believe, will get credited for his second goal of the game.
And I think that one was off Andrew Vieira. The puck bouncing off of Penn, hitting Vieira in the back of the skate, and then just creeping its way over the line. So some rotten luck for ice hockey at UCSB there. They're not really capable of doing much about those pinball-type goals, but unfortunately they count all the same. Fortunately for UCSB, they've built up quite a cushion here in the first period.
2 goals for Penner. He has both on the board for UC Santa Cruz. Piagai lost his edge at the blue line as Murphy swings it around far boards, can't get it further than Blount. On the second try, area angle off the near boards, too far for Mock as Vieira is back to retrieve with a minute to go in the first period. Vieira couldn't get it beyond Yakel. Piagai retrieves the bouncing puck. Will put it on the stick of Blount. Akpish. Gauchos looking to go station to station to work this out here as Piagai sweeps in off the near wing. Piagai drops the puck back. Barone battles for it in the near corner, but Yakel wins it. 25 seconds as Yakel over the blue line. Gives it up for a wrister. Save made. Yakel on the second chance just swept it wide of Mock. Back to the line. Slapper by Penner goes wide. Penalty coming up here. And it's going to go against UCSB. Maybe a grab of the stick off the play with 10 seconds remaining in the first period. 4th power play of the game forthcoming for Santa Cruz.
And James Blount is going to be the guilty party in this instance, looking like he was going for either a holding the stick or possibly a high sticking penalty. I missed the officials signal to the scorekeepers on this one, but it looked like his stick did get up high on the Santa Cruz player he was battling with down low. So for UCSB, 4 penalties against here in the first period. Not something they're going to want to repeat. Coach Scott Heyer is going to want to take this one out of their game as soon as possible.
And that brings us to the end of an offensively active opening period here at Ice in Paradise. The Gauchos put the first 5 goals of the game on the board, and a power play goal for Penner. UCSB responds with 2 more thereafter, both Calcio and Damgard converting after some solid passing plays, but it is the pinball goal, second of the game for Jared Penner, that proves to be the final goal to hit home in that opening 20 minutes of play. A brief pause beforehand as it's like the Santa Cruz players weren't sure that we were going to have a full ice cut here. Of course, one of the many great reasons to come and support the Gauchos here at Ice in Paradise is you also have the opportunity to partake in Chuck-a-Puck, which Gauchos will be getting ready to do now, and we get ready to step aside for a brief break. But before we do that, we remind you that the Los Angeles Kings Fantasy Camp takes place February 15th through the 18th at the Toyota Sports Center and at Staples Center. Sign up by visiting lakings.com/fantasycamp. Pre-register, the cost $2,750, but in doing that, you take part in a fantasy camp opening party and alumni draft, a round-robin tournament with campers and LA Kings alumni at TSC and Staples Center, complete with LA Kings equipment staff available to all players, continuous food and beverage all weekend, a VIP event suite experience for the Kings versus the Coyotes on February the 16th and against the Florida Panthers on February the 18th, and an LA Kings gift bag with personalized jersey and apparel. Be part of all the action with alumni scheduled to attend: Darrell Evans, Luke Robitaille, Nelson Emerson, Glenn Murray, Jim Fox, Rob Blake, Sean O'Donnell, Derek Armstrong, Kyle Calder, UCSB assistant coach and coach of the Santa Barbara Royals, Steve Hines, Jamie Storr, Eric Lacroix, Larry Murphy, Charlie Simmer, Tim Waters, Brad Smith, and Pete Demers. It's the 2017 Los Angeles Kings Fantasy Camp taking place February 15th through 18th. Visit lakings.com/fantasycamp for more information. We are all Kings since 1967. Los Angeles Kings 2017 Fantasy Camp. We step aside for the first period intermission. We'll be back to recap the scoring summary as well as bring you the second 20 minutes of action when we return. You're watching ice hockey at UCSB Gauchos ACHA action. The Ice Hockey at UCSB Broadcast Network. Just a reminder, we are at intermission of the first period of ice hockey at UCSB Gauchos action against the UC Santa Cruz Slugs. Coming up in just a bit, the Center Ice Intermission Report. As we take a look at the scoring summary and more. You're watching Gauchos Hockey, the Ice Hockey at UCSB Broadcast Network. It is the Center Ice Santa Barbara first intermission report. Eric Evelhoch and Kyle Nicolas with you here on the Ice Hockey at UCSB Broadcast Network. Center Ice is a brand new hockey and figure skating retail showroom in Santa Barbara County, located in Goleta, just minutes from the Ice and Paradise facility at 7127 Holster Avenue, Suite 8 in Goleta. Call Center Ice Santa Barbara at 805-770-7970 or visit Center Ice SB, center spelled the Canadian way, R-E, centericesb.com. And Kyle, let's go rapid fire with the goal recap here for the first period. The Gauchos scored just 16 seconds in with Justin Goldser. It was followed up on a goal by Dimitri Piagai at the 157 mark. Mitchell Poliuso was responsible for the next 2 goals at 3:28 and 3:53, and the Gauchos built a 5-0 lead on Justin Goldster's goal at the 8:10 mark, and then began the parade to the penalty box for the Gauchos. They were able to survive the first 2, but on the third, taken by Christian Ockpish, it led to a redirect goal in front on the power play by Jared Penner, tipping home a shot from Charles Murphy. He's got the score to 5-1. Gauchos responded with goals by Dominic Calcio and Jesper Damgaard before the pinball goal by Penner at the 18:35 mark sent us to the end of the first period, where we currently stand with a 7-2 score line. Kyle Nicolas, your impressions on the opening 20 minutes?
UCSB has definitely got to strengthen up and tighten up on their discipline. 4 power plays against, including a 5-on-3, is not something that's going to endear the coaching staff to the way this game has gone for UCSB so far. Yes, it's great to have a 5-goal lead, but nonetheless as well, you really don't want to see any bad habits get into the way this team plays. Some of those bad habits may be starting to creep in a little bit. UCSB may be a little bit lazy on some of the passes. Again, some of the bad penalties that we've talked about. So UCSB is definitely going to want to tighten up those areas of their game. But nonetheless, the offense appears to be flowing. They appear to be playing extremely well. No discredit to the way Casey Wu has played for this through the first period for UC Santa Cruz in this one. Wu made some spectacular saves, including the last one he made on Mitch Poliuso. Poliuso just walked around the defense and then tried to walk around Wu. Wu read it like a book and then perfectly lateral moved from one post to the next and got there in time to get that pad down and take it away from Poliuso.
And I think it speaks to, Kyle, one of the things that have helped the Gauchos be so effective in this game. Those of you that watched the NHL Network's coverage of the World Junior Championships got to see a lot of discussion of the home plate area shot attempts that teams were getting as a part of it. The areas where you're much more likely expected that you're going to score a goal if you get a shot with minimal defense from the area that goes from the corner of the goal post, stretches out to the face-off dots, and goes to the top of the face-off circles, the area where the shots are, shall we say, more dangerous. And I think the Gauchos' ability to get there and get there quickly in the early stage of this game really helped establish, at least offensively, what they can do to continue to be successful tonight.
And they definitely do have the advantage in terms of the offense that has taken place from inside that home plate area. They've done very well keeping UC Santa Cruz outside of that danger zone on the ice. They have contested everything that's come in that direction. They just need to work a little bit harder on making sure that they keep the maximum number of players on the ice in order to really do well of limiting that to the best of their ability.
Well, and speaking about that World Junior Championship tournament, just an amazing final between the United States and Canada. I can't be the only guy, though, Kyle, that thinks it's hilarious that as soon as Canada loses in a shootout in a World Junior Championship final, then all of a sudden the feathers start ruffling about, oh, the shootout is such a bad way to determine an international hockey tournament championship.
Let's be fair, a lot of people were saying that before that shootout happened as well, though, and I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm definitely one of the major proponents of play this like NHL overtime. 20-minute periods, 5-on-5, make someone score a goal to win that championship game.
I'm just saying, I liked Greg Wyshynski's take on it. You sure didn't hear any complaints from north of the 49th parallel when it was Jonathan Taves who got to be the hero as a result of that. As we get ready for the second period of action, teams have switched sides. Gauchos attacking the leftmost goal here and begin the period, killing off 1 minute and 50 seconds of a minor on James Blount for high sticking. Valois breaks up the feed for Yackel at the blue line and will pitch it back down behind Wu for the retrieval by Mason Hanford.
Good initial read there by Valois, and he gets one back.
Intercepts the attempted clear. His shot gloved off by Wu. And Kyle, to your point about what we've seen from Wu, he's a 2-year letter winner, graduate of Scripps Ranch High School in San Diego. The team was founded in 2014-15. He appeared in all of the first 45 games for the Falcons in the first 2 years of that program.
Scripps Ranch playing as part of the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League, one of the biggest high school hockey organizations in the entire country.
Battle in the neutral territory, ultimately chipped back in behind. An attempted break forward connects with Dakota Yakel. Yakel in up the near wing, forced to the sideboards by Slisenko. Valois took the puck from Penner and fired it down the sheet with 45 seconds remaining to kill, and a giveaway to Jaguar Lawrence, and his shot just slips out the back door wide of the near post. Pauliuso on the carry-in, dips a shoulder, his shot misses behind. The Slugs having trouble building some speed through neutral ice, but here's a man who can help them do that, Junyan Mak, but offside go the Slugs.
And Yakel just a little bit over the line early in that one. Maybe just taking his mind off that offside rule for a split second. Unfortunately, that was the first opportunity really since this period began for UC Santa Cruz that they were able to build a little bit of speed through the neutral zone. And it's just that simple mental lapse that forces that chance to just go completely astray. Nothing showing for it.
McKean ships the puck past Pauliuso into the near side corner where Valois will swing it forward for Pauliuso, who slides it through Murphy and should just about do it for the fourth penalty of the game against ice hockey at UCSB. The Gauchos now 3 for 4 on the kill, but a good head of speed carrying in the shot. Penn makes the save on Thomas Bryant. McKean sweeps it behind the net, but Valois will keep it moving. Let this one go all the way down the ice. Bryant really milking this one as best he can and turns it into an icing call.
And it was a clever play from Bryant as well, as he caught Nora Penn just creeping off that far post just a little bit, exposing that short side. So Bryant goes for trying to just get it just over the pad and inside the post, and came probably within about 4 inches of being able to do so. A clever shot. Penn did not expect that one. Nonetheless, still a solid save.
Bogart throws it across the front of the crease. Nobody home. Held in at the far point by Hanford. The feed to the back door broken up by Valois as Damgard takes a hit, but able to get the puck out to neutral ice where it's whipped back in by McKean, but chipped wide to the far side boards. It'll be carried in by Vieira. Vieira feeds for the late arriving goal turn. His shots stick to the near side boards. Interception by Pauliuso, but Bogart on the second try will roll this back in behind Penn, and a little bit of a herky-jerky start to the second period here with 2 minutes and 45 seconds played.
So UCSB looked pretty good on the remainder of that penalty kill to start this second period, so maybe looking to establish a little bit more of their 5-on-5 game here. Now, having done so for probably about 45 seconds, UCSB looking to establish themselves, and they get an opportunity here with an offensive zone faceoff.
Barone stalemated on the draw, ultimately shoved out of the zone by Charles Murphy. Vieira there, though, able to clean up and carry the puck forward for the Gauchos. 3-on-2 if they hurry. Vieira, pass back, a little bit behind Piagai, leaks out to the far boards where Bogart tied up by Barone. Attempted backhand by Vallelunga, can't get it out. Barone switches to the near side point where Akpish whiffs on the attempted trigger pull, but it comes for Barone. Barone shoots. Woo, the save. Puck is loose. Goes behind the net for Piagai to play for Blount. Switches for Barone. Back for Vieira, returns for Tyler, near side boards at the hash. Feed to the slot. Akpish again has it nub off his stick. He's got to get some new tape on that. Vieira from the line, wrister and a Woo save. Chipped forward, but not out by Hanford as Vieira puts it back behind the net for Akpish. Barone for Piagai. Save made, rebound, stabbed home by Barone. 8-2 Gauchos.
And this one may have unfortunately been put into his own net by Woo. This being on the opposite end of the ice from us, a little bit more difficult to tell. Barone was crashing the front of the crease, but it looked like Wu once again made the first save, but let it trickle over him, and it looked like it was headed towards the goal. As he was diving backwards, Wu may have accidentally knocked that one into his own goal with his stick. Nonetheless, I believe, as you say, Barone will be the one to get credit for this one. UCSB going back and establishing themselves here in the second period, trying to let Santa Cruz know that, yeah, they've got a big lead, but UCSB is not going to let them get back into it.
Would be his third goal this season, Barone. He has 3 points unofficially tonight. By the way, Kyle, for the Gauchos, this is now the 5th time that they've scored 7 or more goals this season, as Colcio on the carry-in. Feed in front. Cody Hopkins able to get the clear out. I believe they officially announced it as Piagai's goal. Would be his second of the game, if that's the case. We'll check the tape later to officially score it. Know that Jesse Gutierrez got a good look at it. Gauchos continue to work in the offensive end. Valois returns for Slisenko. This third line for the Gauchos. Some good zone time, but unable to generate anything from inside that home plate area, so Valois got to go back to his own end to set it up once again for Jag Lawrence. Lawrence tries his dangle chops, can't get it past Hopkins. Hyman, with Hopkins falling all over him in the corner. Ultimately able to be worked out and carried for the clear by Bryant. Bryant into the attack end. Bryant shoots. Penn makes a shoulder save, does well to stay upright enough to fight it over top the net. And Lawrence, you can tell he just wants to get off the chain here in this game as Hyman's shot blocked by Mock. Gauchos in the middle of a change as Pauliuso has come on. He's given the puck away. Junyan Mock. Mock. Drop pass. Forced by Blount. Now Pauliuso with Goldser trailing it. Pauliuso backhands it off the near post, goes to the line. Blount, shot, save made. Wu cleared behind the net for Pauliuso to retrieve. Pauliuso switches to the point. Vieira's shot deflected. Attempted to be carried out, but Damgard makes life difficult for Penner. On the second try, he'll angle it off the near side boards in neutral territory with 13:30 to go here in the second period. Gauchos by 6. Pauliuso, shot, blocker save, fought over top the net, cleared to the line where Vieira holds. Vieira, a lot of shooting lane. Instead, he'll elect to go behind the net with it. Backhands it up to Blount at the near point. Driven deeper for Goldser. Goldser walks, shoots. Wu the save. And he's able to close the wickets and fall forward on it to seal it off. He played nearly 7 here in the second.
UCSB doing really well to get to the front of that net to try to get at the rebounds that they know Wu is giving up in this game. Wu is playing well. He's getting in front and stopping almost everything that he's, well, not almost everything that he's been seeing, but everything he's really had even half of a chance at. He's doing pretty well to at least get some sort of a pad on it here tonight. So UCSB doing well to do what they can, get to the front of the net and get those rebounds and those chances they know are going to be sitting there.
Off the draw, Ockpish's shot changed direction in front off the Yackle stick. And the Slugs are able to get it to neutral ice. Vieira curls back at his own blue line for Blount. Now Ockpish tried to angle it forward with the deflect. But the Gauchos have to go get it in their own end. Blount with fire from Bogart. Here's some of that forecheck pressure that we've seen the Slugs at times dial up. Creates the turnover, and Penn makes a great save responding to the Pollard shot from between the circles.
And Andrew Vieira has some words for the official there, wondering why a slashing penalty was not called. Vieira had the stick taken out of his hands as he went to make that outlet pass, and that is what inevitably made that turnover happen. So UCSB wondering, hey, with the power play disparity that we've got going right now, Or was the call on that one? And I think he's got a valid case there. That's one that, even with the score being what you want to see, that's supposed to be a black and white call.
Pregame sweeps it through the defender's legs, but has one on his back. Pregame curls in the near corner, dropping back for Barone. Barone go back to the neutral zone, and the Gauchos look to re-enter. Slugs scores a sharp angle wrister from Gino, and it's 9-2 UCSB. The Gauchos have put 9 or more on the boards now 3 times this season, Kyle. A chance for an all-time offensive evening for this student organization.
And for UCSB, we mentioned in our preseason preview that this season was going to be all about the offensive firepower. They have not disappointed, especially here tonight. What a clever shot on that play from Yevgeny Slugs to just let it go. A quick release goes right in the 5-hole of goaltender Casey Wu. And UCSB coming right back down looking for more. Great shot from Slugs on that one to get another one on the board.
Second goal of the season for Slugs is driving to the front of the net. Colcio taken down, and mayhaps we have our first call of the game.
I don't believe
the
so.
Slugs. Maybe a crease interference call here.
The referee's arm never went up. I believe it's actually the referee whistling down because the net has been knocked off behind the Santa Cruz goaltender. So UCSB still looking for their first power play opportunity here this evening.
Slugs just loves playing against the UCs. His other goal came against UCLA, and they played the Bruins earlier this season. Angles it off the end boards. No Joe Louis Arena rocket-like ricochet on that, but enough for Casey Wu to be concerned and freeze it.
You mentioned Slugs' affinity for scoring against the UCs. That would be quite the asset if your dream in the future of a UC Cup ever comes around for a competition between all of the UC student organization hockey programs.
On the draw in the offensive end, Yackel controls for the Slugs, but a feed to the slot off the boot of Hyman. And now Mock tries to play it through neutral ice. Good job on the stick with the back check by Colcio. As Valois curls away from pressure. Touched forward. Hyman can't connect with Lawrence as Slugs takes a whack to make the play. And now Colcio has a goal already this game, feeds in front, score! Greg Hyman just going right to the top of the crease. Bang, bang, 10-2.
And it's a good recognition from Hyman to go to that spot at the top of the crease, recognizing it was not covered by the Santa Cruz defense, and a spectacular pass from Dominic Casio to get it there. Casio with the head up the whole time, spots Hyman going down, and he puts it on a tee. Perfectly done. Textbook stuff for ice hockey at UCSB. Those are the types of goals that coaches really like seeing in games like this because it shows a high level of execution. That is what you want to keep up in games like this where they're turning into blowouts here relatively early. Coaches like seeing teams continue to execute at a high level throughout them and not let the bad habits sneak in. No rust shown there from Hyman or Dominic Casio.
For Hyman, it's his second goal of the season. He also had the game winner in the game against Santa Clara back on the 6th of November. Casio now has himself a multi-point night as well, a goal and an assist for his work. Poliuso wins the draw on the defensive end. Murphy, and a puck chipped by him by Damgard. Damgard ramps off the stick of Wu. Poliuso continues to do battle with Cole Pollard in the far corner. Damgard drops for Poliuso. The feed deflected. Official will waive icing. And thought about coming out, but instead, Blount back. Give for Damgard, who touches for Poliuso, ahead for Goldser. Goldser. Late arriving Damgard, shot off the glove of Wu. Goes to the end boards where Poliuso bumps with McKean. Blount activates. Golter back to the line. Damgard dumps it behind the net. Bryant picks it up and will curl it out up the far wing for Santa Cruz. But Pauliuso takes it over in the neutral zone. Ahead for Damgard. Damgard working across the slot. Tried to pick the opposite far corner, sent it to the far boards where Vieira. And it angled back behind the net by Hanford. Damgard back to the line for Blount. Shot through traffic, deflects, wide of the near post as Bryant sweeps it along with 9:15 to go in the second period. Akpish sends it for Hanford where Pauliuso takes him on. Akpish for Vieira. Pass through the feet of Pauliuso. He's at his end of his shift. Now Akpish pinned below the red line. Near giveaway in front. It's able to work forward for Bogart, who stood up by Piagai at the red line. All 3 goals in this second period have come off of Gaucho sticks. Barone, Slisenko, and Hyman. Akpish with the steal, comes to the high slot. His shot, save made by Wu, gets the right pad on it and falls on the rebound with 8:19 to go in period number 2.
And this is good goaltending from Casey Wu to recognize that he needs to step out in order to cut off the angle on that shot. Wu being about 3 to 4 feet on top of his goal crease, very Jonathan Quick-like positioning, coming out and making that stop, recognizing that smaller goaltenders oftentimes have to come out and cheat out a little bit more in order to cut off more of the net. Wu making a little bit of kind of a risky play coming out to do that, but nonetheless it pays off as he makes a pretty good looking save.
And at 5'6", you surely do not have the luxury of being able to stand back on your goal line like some of the bigger goalies you see now in the modern NHL. I believe it's 6'3" now, which is the average height for the puck stoppers in the NHL.
So you're telling me that Ben Bishop is not an apt comparison of style?
I wouldn't say so, no, but considering how Bishop's been playing this year, him and his other fellow giant goalie down in Tampa Bay haven't really had much going for them this season. Barone on the carry-in. Andrei Vasilevsky, that's who I'm trying to think of. As Valois picks it up in his own end. Stretch pass, angled through Slisenko. The Gauchos have been a little bit more exotic offensively as Akpish comes up with the steal behind the net but couldn't backhand it through the slot. 3 Navy shirts in the way of the attempted slot feed. And Junhyun Mak ultimately gets the puck at the red line. Mak on the carry and curls far side boards. Hits the late arriving Murphy into the slot. Yakel shot blocked by Slisenko. Nice stretch feed by Calcio for Barone. Barone waits, shoots. May have got a piece, maybe some pipe too. His pass back deflected, and now here comes Junhyun Mak. Mak in. Good back check from Barone. Penn probably got a piece of it too. As Valois angles it forward for Calcio, and now a 2-on-1 for the Gauchos. Return feed, stuffed home. Calcio, Valois, Calcio, and the Gauchos have equaled their highest offensive output of the season.
And UCSB is on an offensive tear here tonight. Another great passing play involving Dominic Calcio, this time with Eric Valois. But let's go back to the defensive effort from, I believe it was Tyler Barone, down next to Nora Penn in order to stop Junhyun Mak, who had a partial breakaway really from the UCSB blue line in on top right to the front of the net. A great back check, not enough to take a penalty as well. So nonetheless, a play that is going to make Coach Scott Hires extremely happy with him here in this game. And for UCSB, just another brilliant setup, well-executed play with Dominic Calcio. Beautiful pass from Eric Valois to hit him back with it. UCSB just in cruise mode now.
Giveaway between the circles, and Lawrence's slapper screamed over the top. Second goal of the game for Dominic Colcio. This is going to be a game that the young Colorado Avalanche fan is going to remember. The goals have all been the hard-working kind, none of the Datsukian variety of his favorite player. Pavel's had more than his share of multi-point nights as the puck swept in on Penn. Ooh, Cameron McKean lost an edge, and he's quickly headed to the bench for Santa Cruz. Gauchos charge forward in response. Hyman's shot snatched out of the air by Wu. With 5:06 to go in the second period, 11-2.
And Wu again just getting out on top of his goal crease, getting the glove up high. And the key to this save is that he starts with the glove higher than what most goaltenders of a larger stature can get away with starting. A lot of them will start with it just a little bit over the pad. Wu starts with it up around his shoulder area, and this allows him to get it up and snag that puck out of midair with that shot.
Poliuso, a good look off the face-off, but sent it wide. Goldser, touch for Slasenko. For Poliuso in the far corner. Curled away, but lost the puck to Dakota Yakel. Charles Murphy angles it forward. Goldser on the carry-in. Goldser shoots. And Wu there to eat it up on the top of his crease again, Kyle. Showing the necessity of aggression at the more traditional size of a goalie. You know, guys like Glenn Hall, guys like Johnny Bauer were a lot closer to the size of Casey Wu.
Back in the day when teams basically put the pads on the smallest guy on the team and said, do what you can, right? Game was a little different in those days.
Just a bit. He's off the draw. Santa Cruz had a speed here for Kevin Dury. Tried to get it for Penner, who has both of the slug goals. Mock goes down behind the net. As Goldser can't clear it, Penner got a stick and now holds along the far side boards. Backhanded into the area, and Penn quickly off her line to freeze it before Kevin Dury can get a stick to it in front.
A little bit of a chaotic bounce in the defensive zone for ice hockey UCSB. And I'm sure any goaltending aficionado will tell you that one of the hardest things for goalies to do is to stay engaged in a game where they don't see a lot of rubber like Nora has here this evening. She has not seen a whole lot of action. Nonetheless, still good to stay aware, stay on her toes, and get out and get on top of that puck quickly. She had a slug crash in the top of the crease very, very fast.
A slug crashing fast?
It's a little bit of an oxymoron, I'll give you that.
Gaucho's able to get the clear up the far side boards. Goldser fights through the hit that, boy, I think Mason Hanford may have gotten the worst of that. Mock behind the net for Bryant. Sends it in front, nobody home. Mock, a bit of stick work behind the play. As now Dury carries in up to near wing. Area feed angled to the far side boards by Penn. Mock with it there. Slides it under the stick of Dury at the bottom of the near face-off circle. Slasenko gives chase with 3:05 to go in the second period. Valois able to get the touch forward by Akpish. Now Akpish will send it forward for Jesper Damgaard. Damgaard tried to get it to the late arriving Poliuso, intercepted McKean, but thrown in front for Akpish and fought up and out of play off the cuff of the trapper by Wu.
And a great save from Wu to recognize, to get out and challenge that one as quickly as possible. Akpish was staring him, could see the whites of his eyes when he let that shot go. Brilliant save from Casey Wu to keep his team at a 9-goal deficit. You know, it's easy to get disheartened when something like this happens. UCSB has been on the opposite end of a game like this earlier this season when they went up to Cal and played UC Berkeley. It's never fun to be on that side, but you do like seeing goaltenders continue to make saves of that quality, especially when in this kind of a hole.
Piagai with it near corner. He scored his first of the season tonight. Behind the net, Charles Murphy curls it around. Bogart angles it past Blount. And here's a break-in opportunity for Cameron McKean. Slapper, save made Penn. Rebound, knocked free. Penn pushes it to the near side corner with help from Vieira. Pregame on the back check. Lost it for McKean, who sent it wide to the far boards, and now Barone ahead with Calcio. For the late arriving Vieira, looking to get it for Calcio, and it skips over his stick. Sends it to the near side corner, where Pregame will pick it up. Sent in front. Blount shot blocked, and this is going to be the first penalty of the game against UC Santa Cruz.
I believe it's going to be a boarding penalty if I'm not mistaken.
Pregame chips it back to the line. Gauchos with the extra skater on. Blount shot through traffic. Knocked down in front by Dakota Yackel. And so the penalty box swings open to welcome a banana slug for the first time in the game with 1:18 before second intermission.
And it looks like it's going to be Cameron McKean who is sent off, the 6-foot forward. Didn't see the officials call. I believe it was probably boarding. There was a heavy collision behind the Santa Cruz net. Did not see the Gaucho that was involved with it. It did occur off the play. But for UCSB, a chance to really work on something that has also been kind of a sore spot for them this season. The power play has been very hit or miss. Some nights it looks invincible and is scoring on 60% of the chances it gets. Other nights it could get 8 chances and go begging. So for Scott Hires, this is some valuable practice time for this unit.
Held in by Pauliuso at the point. Drop back for Blount as well to get it back for Pauliuso. Under a minute to go here. Return feed, looking in front for Goldser off the dam guard pass. Rolls to the line where Blount holds it in. Shot through traffic, tipped on, deflected to the corner by Hanford. Pauliuso there, Goldser chases it behind the net. 30 seconds in front for Damgard. Shot and Wu makes the save and holds the wickets at the far post.
Good puck movement for ice hockey at UCSB on this first unit, but keep an eye out for Junyan Mock on this one. Mock, clearly the fastest skater for UC Santa Cruz, is out here on this penalty kill, and boy, was he putting a lot of pressure on the UCSB points, trying to get them to cough up a puck quickly and go for that breakaway skate. He knows he's got that foot speed, so why not take that opportunity, especially when you really don't have anything to lose at this point.
Gauchos control off the draw. Slasenko. Slapper deflects in front. Pregame hesitates. His shot sticked up and away by Wu.
Well, they say your goaltender needs to be your best penalty killer. Wu has been sharp here on this UCSB power play opportunity that's a little over a minute old now. 15 seconds left to go here in the second period. I think now is also a good time to mention we will have a special guest here during the second intermission as well. We will introduce him when the time comes along, but if you're watching at home, pay attention. Don't go anywhere. You might miss something fun.
Valois off the return feed, hesitates, shoots, Wu the save, rebound, swept to the far side boards. Slasenko holds, but that'll do it for the second period of play. When we return, the Gauchos will have 42 seconds of power play time as they have equaled their largest offensive output of the season. They scored 11 in their second game against the Santa Rosa Junior College. Polar Bears back on the 9th of October. That was also on a Sunday. UCSB, Sunday, offensive Sunday for the Gauchos, as a strong performance for them through the first 40 minutes of play.
And I think probably one thing UCSB can work on here during the second intermission is have everyone stop using Christian Ockpich's stick, because, man, it seems like everyone's fanning on that puck there in the second period.
Well, the Gauchos, however, do add 4 goals to their ledger, getting a Tyler Barone tally that was originally officially credited Tapia guy, but with him crashing the front of the net, I believe he was the last one to get lumber on it. Gauchos also get a goal off the stick of Evgeny Slisenko, a neat little wrist shot from the bottom of the far circle that beat Wu through the wickets. Then Greg Hyman, a nice 2-on-1 with Dominic Cossio, before another nice 2-on-1 with Cossio giving to and getting it back from Eric Valois before depositing his second goal of the game. The Gauchos lead it 11-2 here on the Ice Hockey at UCSB Broadcast Network. We're going to step aside for a brief break, but when we return, you know you're going to want to hear from who we have joining us here at Ice in Paradise. More to come after this on the Ice Hockey at UCSB Broadcast Network. Second intermission here at Ice in Paradise, Ice Hockey at UCSB with an 11-2 lead over the UC Santa Cruz Slugs. And fans, make sure to circle January the 20th on your calendars. This coming Friday, the Stanley Cup will be right here at Ice in Paradise from 4 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Come and get your picture taken with the greatest trophy in all of sports, or you can spend an evening with the Stanley Cup at the Bacara Resort and Spa. That will be from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. If you want your photo with the cup here at Ice in Paradise, tickets are $25 in advance or $30 at the door per photo. You can have up to 6 people involved in a photo, or if you go and take part in the evening with the Stanley Cup at the Bacara Resort and Spa, those tickets are $125 per person. Tickets for both events are on sale at the front desk at Ice in Paradise. And joining us here for the second intermission, he's the man who's put more pucks to the back of the net than anybody on ice hockey at UCSB so far this season. Cooper Spears, have you ever seen or had your picture taken with the Stanley Cup?
I have once in Toronto, went down and went to the Hockey Hall of Fame. Luckily it was there, got a nice picture with it, but I don't know where that picture is, so I might have to re-up.
Now,
it's good to update that periodically.
Now, but do you believe in the whole hockey player superstition? Because if that's the case, you better not have touched it, or you better just hope that it's not the traveling real one. It's the one that they just keep there on Yonge Street.
I wish I could say I didn't touch it, but I grabbed that thing right when I walked in, so. so far it's been no bad luck or anything, so we'll see.
Well, a little bit of bad luck for you as we start the 2016-17 second half of the season. Unable to have you here due to a lower body injury. But, before all that, what's the experience been like playing in the ACHA and representing ice hockey at UCSB?
It's been really fun so far. Good group of guys, and it's nice too, moving back home and not really knowing too many people. Everyone moved away, and then these guys welcome me with open arms, and everyone's super nice. We have a good coaching staff. We're doing pretty well this year. Hopefully we can carry it over and win some more, but right now the guys are playing pretty well after taking that almost 2 months off.
And I think one of the things that, a lot of hockey fans are surprised about when they first get a look at the ACHA is the level of play in the game. You've played, minor hockey with Pikes Peak. You've got the Miners sweatshirt on right here as, we have you here for the second intermission here on the Ice Hockey at UCSB Broadcast Network. What's the level of competition like in the ACHA?
It is, it was better than I was expecting for sure when I first started playing. There's some good guys out there. They all played pretty high levels and just happened to go to college and want to keep playing. So yeah, there's some talented guys out there for sure.
What would you say to the high school junior, the high school senior that may not necessarily have that Division I offer coming from a program like Boston College, BU, North Dakota, Michigan Tech? How much fun is it to continue to play in a league like the ACHA while also, studying at a top institution?
It is really fun. If you don't have that D1 chance, you want to keep playing, this is the best league to do it. It's better than club. You have good coaching. They treat it like it's D1. They give you all the perks and stuff. So I would say this would be your best option if you're coming out that way. And there's a lot more schools that have this, and you get to travel, but not too much. So you get to focus on school a little bit, but you also get to play hockey, which is amazing.
And I actually have a question a little bit. And with this beautiful facility we've got here, Ice in Paradise, and a youth hockey organization that's been growing, the Santa Barbara club hockey team has been really taking on a lot of players, especially considering that the rink down in Oxnard has recently closed up shop and been demolished. What would you say to a youth player that wants to be the next Cooper Spears? They want to come to ice hockey at UCSB.
Do we want to have kids looking to be Cooper Spears?
When it comes to goal scoring production, there are not many better players when it comes to ice hockey at UCSB that you can turn and look up to when it comes to being able to put the puck in the back of the net. You got a kid who wants to do that like you do. What do you tell a kid like that when it comes to their practice, their training? What do they work on?
You can never shoot too many pucks. Always have a net in the backyard. Watch a lot of hockey. Kind of get the hockey IQ. I think that's my biggest aspect from being in the right place at the right time. The biggest thing that it comes to is what you do when no one's looking, and that's what I've lived by my whole life. So always keep positive and just find the back of the net and just shoot as many pucks as you can.
Well, and when you talk about hockey IQ too, who are some players that, locally here in the Southern California area, you're blessed with having such incredible two-way players like, Anze Kopitar, Ryan Kessler, goal scorers like Corey Perry, like Jeff Carter. But who are some of your sort of under-the-radar type players that a kid could really pattern themselves after and have a good career? Someone like, say, Steve Hines was for the Kings back in the early 2000s.
I mean, my favorite personal player to watch is Kyle Clifford. He's no goal scorer, but he plays two-way hockey. And another one that's up there is definitely Nathan McKinnon. He's not notorious for getting a lot of points throughout the year, but his two-way hockey is pretty sensational.
It was exceptionally good for Team NA in the World Cup of Hockey last summer. I remember the overtime winner in that game against Sweden was just truly something else. One of the best hockey games I have ever seen in person. And if I could just add someone else to that list who I think kind of got left off and deserves to be a look, especially because there's so many of our fans are probably watching from the Northern California area, you really can't go wrong by paying attention to number 8, Joe Pavelski. Joe Pavelski is, when it comes to two-way play, one of the best guys you can possibly pattern your game off of, and he's a 40-goal-a-year guy to boot. You want to pick a guy to play like, you're definitely not going to go wrong playing like him.
I agree 100% with that. He has a work ethic like no other. He's out there every shift giving it his all, and he's a great leader as well. And I've given Couture some credit too. He's a good player as well.
And definitely Logan Couture also being one of the smaller stature type guys as well, someone for the guys who maybe know they don't necessarily have that physical size to them to pattern their game off of. Couture, the very sneaky skater, beautiful stick handler, quick release, great player to pattern your game off of.
And as the teams are back out on the ice and you get ready for the start of the third period of action here, Cooper, my final question for you would be, if the worst comes to pass and this lower body injury means that you don't get to suit up in the ice hockey at UCSB colors for the remainder of this season, what's your favorite memory going to be from your first year with the Gauchos student hockey organization?
My first game, coming off having a big game, kind of set the tone for myself a little early. Didn't follow up for a while, took a little break, then I got back on the horse and started working again. But just being with the guys and having fun and everything was the best memory. So
that was a debut to remember for sure. A 4-goal performance against Santa Rosa Junior College, and you even told us you're not an overwhelming fan of playing against that team, but boy, your stat line would sure fool anyone else.
That is true. They're not my favorite team to play against, so.
The big, heavy, hard-hitting style of hockey definitely gets in your way a little bit, makes things not easy. But Cooper, thank you very much for joining us this intermission.
Thank you for having me, guys.
And we look forward to, if we can possibly see you back out on the ice here this season.
Hopefully soon. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you.
Big thank you to Cooper Spears for joining us here in the second intermission. Ice Hockey at UCSB Broadcast Network. Had to shake his hand before getting out of there. It's still a little hot. 12 goals. Woo. All season long, it's just been.
Not even in the lineup here tonight, and he's still the leading scorer. And we've had 11 goals go in for other Gauchos here.
It's been a tremendous night offensively for UCSB, and they are 20 minutes from picking up the 7th victory of the season. And more importantly, Kyle, this would be a victory in league play. UCSB has not yet lost a league game this season. As from the blue line, the shot steered to the far side boards were picked up by Poliuso. Remember, UCSB began the period with a power play, but with it shot down the ice in on Nora Penn, those final 10 seconds or so should come off the board as it's put in front, and Penn makes a nice save on Jared Penner after a sneaky find from Junhyun Mack.
So you could say in this case the Penn was mightier than the Penner. I don't know. I tried to make a really
that's a reach, Kyle.
That's a pretty big. That's a pretty strong reach there. The Penn is still there as well, but nonetheless, great stop. Way to be alert from Nora Penn, especially considering the way this period started. UCSB still has a power play right now. By the way, they started the period with about 48 seconds. That's now down to 0 as the penalty box vacates, and UCSB has failed on that power play opportunity. They had some good looks on it late in the second period, but nonetheless, opportunity goes begging.
Casey Wu equal to some very good looks for the Gauchos on their lone power play opportunity of the game. Now 0 for 1 with the man advantage as the area pass misses everybody and will go for icing on the touchback by Thomas Bryant. Well, Kyle, do you know why UC Santa Cruz are known as the Banana Slugs?
You know, I meant to look this up earlier because I am curious. I don't know why, and I wanted to know why, and I definitely ran out of time while doing my preparation today. Please tell me.
So UC Santa Cruz, you don't generally think of it as a major athletic institution when it comes to the UCs. They have programs that compete at the D3 level. As now leading the charge in Barone feeds for Calcio, and the hat trick try stubs off to the near corner. But in 1980, they turned some of the club sports as the shot deflects the near side corner into an NCAA Division III program. But before then, the students at UC Santa Cruz, because of the preponderance of the yellow banana slugs you could find all over the Northern California campus, just sort of given that name to the teams that represented UC Santa Cruz back when they were student organizations. Now the chancellor for UC Santa Cruz back in 1980, when they first went to Division III, actually changed the name to the Sea Lions, thinking, we can't be the Banana Slugs. There's nothing intimidating about a banana slug. But even with a Sea Lion logo at center court for basketball, on the pitch for their soccer teams, the students continued to call the UC Santa Cruz squads Banana Slugs. So, in 1986, the administration finally relented and held a vote. As the shot, flashes the leather on Christian Akpish. It was near unanimous from the students and from the locals that UC Santa Cruz would be known as the Banana Slugs officially from there on out.
And shall we say one of the more interesting school mascot names in the NCAA, and definitely here in the ACHA as well. Speaking of other interesting mascots, talking about Grand Canyon University and also the Lopes as well from Texas, I believe, in that one.
That's a minor hockey league team, the Odessa Jackalopes.
The Odessa Jackalopes is definitely another interesting one as well. But
Jaguar Lawrence, Johnny Bauer style poke check by
we were just mentioning Johnny Bauer earlier. Seems like that is now officially an apt comparison.
Spread out on his stomach, fishing with the stick, and number 1 in navy blue able to come up with a nice play on Jaguar Lawrence, who has just been all over it for the Gauchos in recent games. You can really tell him, though, Kyle, pressing a bit here, looking to want to continue that hot form that he had coming in. 5 goals and 4 assists in the first 10 games played this season for ice hockey at UCSB. Jag Lawrence, the puck taken away from him along the near side boards by Cody Hopkins. And Hopkins knocked over by Greg Hyman, but able to get the puck forward for Thomas Bryant. Bryant, slow roller in on Penn. And she elects to hold it for a face-off with 16:13 to go in the third period.
So some interesting history about the UC Santa Cruz campus. Not a lot of people recognizing that they are a school with some athletic programs, but one of the smaller UCs, and if I'm not mistaken, also one of the newer ones as well. I believe only UC Merced is actually newer in the UC school system than UC Santa Cruz is, if I'm not mistaken properly.
And by the way, as we give congratulations to the UC athletics program, ICA for UCSB just killing it this weekend as a beautiful move by Jesper Damgaard. And he walks in and slides home the 12th goal of the game for UCSB. And for Jesper Damgaard, that is goal number 2 tonight.
And for UCSB, now a season high in terms of offensive production, the 12 goals they have scored here tonight. It's going to take me a while to splice the highlights together on this one. There's going to be a lot of cuts together. I've seen our technical director, Alina, over there writing down highlights. Her pencil hasn't stopped moving very much.
12-2 Gauchos is Damgaard, now with 4 goals on the season. Poliuso will draw an assist as the Gauchos looking for more. Damgaard just couldn't connect with Goldser. He got the offense started for the Gauchos just 16 seconds into the game, did the captain. Mock being worked on in the corner. Goldser shoulders him across the front of the crease, but Mock keeps up with it. And will be stood up at the blue line by Eric Evelhoch.
It's one way to deal with someone coming over your blue line with speed.
Mock, I'll just tell you, that's number 20 that got you. Trust me, you don't want to try and pick that up on the follow as Poliuso just driving the front of the net. A couple nice stops by Wu, keeping the trapper high and then sealing along the ice with the stick.
And that is not the first big hit that Eric Evelhoch has laid out on someone coming across his blue line like that as well. Evelhoch very good at it, as is number 91, Dimitri Piagai. who we have come to know and love as someone who really enjoys lining people up for hip checks as they come over that blue line with their head down.
Anybody who says one of his favorite things about playing the game is lighting kids up tells you all you need to know about the mentality of Pregame. Is off the draw. Cameron McKean in with it. Loses it at the moment of truth. Was trying to get it for Bogart, but it slides behind the net. Pollard tried to backhand it in front. Intercepted, and now Barone on his horse. Barone back for Pregame. He'll curl with it. Give it to the line for Vieira. Vieira gives it up for Barone along the near side boards for Pregame. Left it through for Blount. Tipped, score! Don't know if that was a Gaucho that got a stick on that in the high slot or if it hit the defenseman.
It looked like it was Andrew Vieira to me in front of the net, and it looks like the Gauchos are reacting that way. So I believe this is going to be Andrew Vieira's goal.
For Vieira, his second goal of the season. We've seen him with that slapper from the point, but there's some ridiculous hand-eye from between the circles.
We've seen that on a few instances so far tonight from both sides. Some good hand-eye coordination. And Vieira, we've lauded his skating ability all season long. He's got some offensive nose for the net talent. Great glove save there from Casey Wu.
Pregame just looking to the lights,
thinking he could maybe get that other one, but Casey Wu has other ideas. Again, going back to Andrew Vieira, we talk an awful lot about that skating ability, but skating ability is one thing. If you don't have that hockey sense and that innate offensive ability that Vieira has, he had snuck down below the goal line in order to work his way back to the mid-slot and was right in between the hash marks when he got that tip, recognizing that his point was covered and that he could open up space by making that little curl play. A brilliant offensive play from the Gaucho defenseman.
Pregame sends it wide of the far post. He and Calcio nose for the net here on this shift for the Gauchos. Behind the net, Calcio gives for Pregame. Pregame sealed off the puck behind the net by Thomas Bryant. And he'll lead the charge out for the Slugs. And ridden off the puck by Vieira. Pregame calling for and receiving the puck. Hesitates as two men came to it. Ockpish. The drop pass to the line for Barone to curl with it for Ox in the corner. Way behind the net. Backhanded in front by Vieira. Chipped away as Ockpish feeds for Barone. Backdoor Vieira. Pass across. Tipped off the stick of Penner. He has both the Santa Cruz goals. It's Hanford. His pocket picked by Hyman. Hyman nudged off the puck by Penner, but Barone with it. Walks out in front, and Wu makes the glove save.
And that glove of Wu has been busy here in this third period. He's made several great stops with that glove hand in order to keep this score really where it's at. UCSB with an 11-goal lead at this point. Really, we can't discredit the way Casey Wu has played. 13 goals have gotten past him to this point, but he's actually played himself a pretty darn good game for the Banana Slugs.
Defensive zone draw controlled by Santa Cruz. But Lawrence holds the puck along the near side boards. A little bit of line juggling from Coach Hires. As Hyman out in front, score! Jaguar Lawrence there to slam it home on the backhand. He's been working for it all game. And there it is. Make it 14-2.
And for Jack Lawrence, he's going to appreciate getting that one on the board. Not necessarily the most meaningful goal he will ever score in his life, but at the same time, you want to keep the offensive momentum going. You know, it's kind of hard to really feel great about scoring goals when they're late goals in blowout games like this. My first ever goal playing for the roller hockey program was the 10th goal in an 11-1 victory. So I definitely understand kind of a little bit how it feels, but at the same time, you like feeling that offensive momentum going for Jag Lawrence, considering how hot he was at the end of the 2016 calendar year for ice hockey at UCSB, getting some of that momentum going back into the 2017 section of this season.
Kyle, I've been to your house. I have seen that puck prominently displayed on your mantle. Don't act like you don't care about it.
I do not have that puck displayed on my mantle. It'd be nice if I did, though.
Achfish tried to feed to the slot. Penner sweeps it away. Achfish tries to work through Durney. Gets help from Penner, though. And they're just trying to angle it forward for Junyoung Mak. Seemingly every opportunity now, but Slisenko able to beat him back for the icing. You know, this result here for ice hockey at UCSB really in line with what's been a great weekend for ICA as a whole for UCSB. How about the men's tennis program? Blanking San Diego State 7-0 to open the dual season. How about the women outswimming UC Davis to a 64-point win yesterday? And then the basketball double dip, the women defeating defending Big West regular season champion Riverside as a shot by Pauliuso finds the back of the net from the top of the far circle.
I believe that completes Pauliuso's hat trick here in the evening.
It is a hat trick for Mitchell Pauliuso as he continues to pile on the points in this game. He also has at least one additional assist to his credit. The Gaucho women, 58-54 winners over UC Riverside yesterday. And how about the men? Coming back from 15 down in the second half to defeat Cal Poly 58-53 in the blue-green game. Pauliuso adds to his scoreline with another.
You just cannot give Mitch Pauliuso that much time and space as he wins himself a breakaway and just emphatically slams it behind the goaltender. Casey Wu did quite well to read that one and almost got the pad across to rob him in that laying down, sprawling, trying to get the pad to the near side post. Just not quite enough to get it past Mitch Pauliuso, who, let's be real, Mitch Pauliuso has looked like a bull in a china shop for most of this game here tonight. He has been utterly dominant on just about every single shift he's been on the ice. So regardless of the score, this one's going to go down as really one of the best performances of the year for Mitch Pauliuso. And considering the role he has had on this team and how well he's played for most of this year, that's saying something.
Goldster's shot blockered out of play for a face-off with 10:52 to go here in the third period for Pauliuso. The 5-point night now would give him 18 and move him into the team lead in point scoring for ice hockey at UCSB. Off the draw, the shot tipped in front by Calcio, but Wu seals it off.
If I'm not mistaken, Pauliuso was also one of, if not the team's leading scorers last season as well. So if he's able to hold this point lead for the rest of the year, that would give him 2 straight seasons of leading scoring in ice hockey at UCSB.
Last season, 8 games played, 6 goals, team best 11 helpers, team best 17 points for Pauliuso. And oh yeah, he also did that for putting up a team leading 22 penalty minutes. In the slot, Piagai sends it back to the line. Shot, tip play, Calcio. Save made by Wu, redirecting Blount's shot from the doorstep.
And Piagai giving his head a little shake right there going, yeah, I can't seem to beat him either, right? Piagai's got one on there, and he's had several more taken away by some acrobatic and truly sensational saves from Casey Wu here tonight.
Calcio doubled his season goal total in the game. He now has 4 as the shot from the point by Vieira patted away. And Piagai has taken a penalty here as he held down Junyoung Mak. He has an incredulous look on his face, but it wouldn't be a game without Piagai taking a minor, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't be. And he's going to go off for hooking in this one as well as Mak. I think Piagai's arguing Mak may have gone down a little bit too easily in that instance, but nonetheless, if you get a stick in the guy's midsection, especially when it's away from the play like that, right in front of the referee, he's probably going to make that call, and that's what he did right there. So not much really for Pregame to argue about.
And in fairness to Dimitri, after finishing tied with Pauliuso 22 penalty minutes last season, that's just the 4th minor he's taken this season for ice hockey at UCSB. So there's been improved discipline for number 91. Now granted, the 4 penalties will probably disqualify him from Lady Bing status, but it has been a significant improvement to his game this season.
And give him a little bit of credit as well. If memory serves me properly, I think probably 3 of those 4 minors have been filed away under what you would call a good penalty, something you take to try to shut down a scoring chance or slow a guy down when he's about to break over your line with speed, stuff that you don't necessarily mind him taking as a coach other than the fact that it had to come around, usually because of a mistake. But for Pregame, yes, he has definitely cleaned up that act defensively and in terms of his discipline this season.
Along the near side boards, Junyon Mack. Back to the line for Yakel. Back for Mack. All sorts of traffic in front of Penn, trying to peer her way around it. Mack shoots, save made. Rebound, curled behind the net by Penner. Has Slisenko on his back. Back to the line for Yakel. Gives it up for Murphy. Back for Yakel. Headhunter slapper. Look out, Gino. Played below the line for Penner. His shot deflects up over top to the near side boards, but Yakel will track it down with 30 seconds remaining on the power play. His shot, save made by Penn, fought it off despite Kevin Durney in front of her. Yakel will retrieve in his own end. Forechecking pressure from Jaguar Lawrence as Murphy takes the feed, able to get past Damgard, gain the blue line, and give up for Mack. Mack, backhand feed to the slot, nice late stick lift by Greg Hyman, and it's played forward for Jesper Damgard. Penalty is over to Pregame as Pollard backhands it forward too far for Bogar.
Good penalty kill from the Gauchos there as well. Very under control the entire time. Not a lot of scares. Really just a good control and way to keep everything out of, as you mentioned earlier, that home plate area. The Gauchos defending that house very well.
7:35 to go in the 3rd period as it hit levied and puck sent all the way down the ice on Penn, forcing Vieira to come back and keep play churning. Too high forecheck set up, but easily broken with the feed up the near side boards. Damgard on the carry in. His shot misses the far post. Blount on the hold in. Damgard retrieves. Cutting in. Vieira put it off the outside of the cage and throws it in front. And Hyman sent it wide. Out in front, and Pregame scores. Well, there are only so many times you can set somebody up alone in that home plate area before finally Pregame pops home his 2nd of the game.
And there's only so many times you can set up Dimitri Pregame in that area before he's finally going to pop one in there as well. About 3 or 4 chances where he's robbed, misses the net on a couple of them until finally he gets this one through.
I'm going to give Hyman the secondary assist on that too, because it was technically his wide shot that went to Damgard before he found Pregame.
I think that's a fair call.
Glove save by Wu as Damgard snapping one off. 17-2. This one looking like a football score, and certainly not as close as that NFC game between Dallas and Green Bay. Yes, Green Bay won.
Spoiler alert for anyone who had that DVR.
If you're DVRing the NFL to watch ice hockey at UCSB, I apologize. But thank you for joining us here tonight as the Gauchos have had a historic evening against UC Santa Cruz.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to be the one to say you have your priorities in place.
Pauliuso's feed was intercepted by Bryant. Carries over the blue line, and the shot misses the blocker side of Penn. After that first period, when you could tell that there were moments of frustration for Nora with both of the goals going in off the stick of Jared Penner, He's made a couple of really nice saves here as we're inside the 6-minute mark.
And UCSB has done well to tighten up that defense that they've had as well. They have not allowed a whole lot to get to the front of the net. A couple solid saves on some good chances for Santa Cruz that Penn has been equal to, but nonetheless the defense seems to have really kind of gotten the idea that they need to batten down the hatches and make this one as easy as possible for Penn going forward and really get some practice in on that defensive zone play.
Boy, Wu with a nice right pad save on Dominic Colcio. Barone curled it to Dom in the near corner. Takes the hit but makes the play to move it along for Justin Goldser. Goldser pinned to the boards by Penner. Mock digs it free, put it between the legs of Blount, but back to pick it up Valois. Stretch pass too far for Colcio, and the linesman quick to call the icing as Barone was racing in looking to nullify it, but
long way to go, not a lot of time to get there. And for those at home wondering, no, there is no mercy rule when it comes to ACHA hockey, the PCHL. Here, this one will play its entire time. The clock will stay stop time for the entire 60 minutes. So there is no early exit rule, which I guess you probably could have guessed by now considering the 15-goal advantage.
Goldser on the carry-in. Feeds Barone, and he picks the far corner blocker side.
And I believe he caught the bottom of the crossbar with that shot, too. I heard a little bit of a ping on that, so beautiful shot from Barone to get that up and over the shoulder of Casey Wu. Even if the score was closer, that's one that really you can be proud of. An excellent shot, finding just the very top corner.
Also, by the way, that's now more points in this game than through the first half of the Pittsburgh-Kansas City game. It's 12-7 in that. 18-2 here in favor of the Gauchos. Slisenko tries to sweep a backhander in front. Near post well held by Wu. Barone. That goal for him was his second of the game. Piagai. Got a couple guys who are sitting on braces right now out there. Barone, Piagai, and Colcio, all with a pair. Tip play by Colcio, and again, Wu prevents him from the chapeau party.
Speaking of guys who have had some golden opportunities to crack that third one and just haven't managed to, Colcio, a beautiful, once again, another hand-eye coordination play to get that tip. Just not quite enough, and a good positional save from Casey Wu. Again, out on top of his goal crease, gets as much of that net covered as he possibly can. Colcio, not quite enough to get it past him.
Achpish, his shot screams high with under 4 to go in the third. Lawrence behind the net. Hesitating, waiting, sends it back for Valois. Tip play by Achpish, and again, Wu there to make the save and hold for the faceoff. Lawrence out there with Achpish and Hyman. A little bit of a blending of the lines.
I think Coach is maybe doing his best to get some of the guys out there who have the best chances of maybe completing that hat trick.
Hyman. Pass back for Slisenko. Nice save by Wu. Slisenko. And looks like we're going to have a penalty here as Hyman. Contact with Ryan Vallelunga.
It's like it caught him a little bit high as well. Vallelunga looks like he went down pretty hard on that one.
So it's the 6th penalty of the game taken by the Gauchos. First time that Hyman will sit down for a pair. You sure hope that Vallelunga's okay.
Went straight to the bench under his own power, so didn't look like he was too much worse for wear.
Kyle, he is the founder of the UC Santa Cruz Entrepreneurs and Developers Club as a tip play by Jag Lawrence goes just wide. I'm sure he'll be able to help heal himself with all the money rolling in from the 4 separate apps that young Vallelonga has already launched.
That's pretty impressive resume, really.
Played to the front of the net, all kinds of time for Penner, and he puts it wide of the glove. And on the second try, he picks bar down. The second power play goal of the game for Santa Cruz, and that should complete the hat trick for Captain Jared Penner.
Yeah, so a little bit of a bright spot in this game for UC Santa Cruz. Good to see an offensive performance from their founder, and a sweet shot on that last one as well. Again, going bar down to get that one over the glove of Nora Penn. Coaching staff for UCSB probably not going to be too happy with the fact that 6 opportunities now the Gauchos, again, have surrendered twice, so a 66% penalty kill percentage. Definitely below average for just about every level of hockey out there. It's something that's been a sore spot for UCSB all season, and it has been once again here today.
Right about in line with what the season numbers have been, though, for the Gauchos. He's on the carry-in. Justin Goldser with the response. Guess he couldn't let the Slugs have the last touch of the twine tonight.
And I believe that completes the hat trick for him as well, if I'm not mistaken.
You are on point.
So that's 2 Gauchos now with the chapeau trick. I don't know the French word for trick, so I can't really keep going with that.
Do you speak French at all?
No, not really.
Vieira gets the assist, I should say. UCSB is in offside. McKean trying Penn, Nora still not having any of it.
I think if we need to dish a little bit of credit to someone on UC Santa Cruz's side who has had himself a very good game, I've been impressed with the likes of number 4 Dakota Yackel here this evening. He has been just a tenacious force in the defensive zone, really where UC Santa Cruz does not have a whole lot going for them here tonight, as UCSB gets the 20th of the game here, and this one goes to Mitch Poliuso, I believe is 5th if I'm not mistaken. 2:03 left, but Yackel has been a bright spot on the blue line for UC Santa Cruz. It seems like every time they need a big defensive shift or just some sort of a good defensive play has been made, it seems like it's been number 4 in Navy that's been the one making it.
This is a game that Mitchell Poliuso is going to remember, because somehow I don't think he expected he would double his season goal total in just 60 minutes.
I don't think that's something most people expect, except if maybe one.
Draws the assist. Poliuso, this is got to be a historic night for the ice hockey at UCSB program. Poliuso's got a couple helpers to his credit as well. Shot from the line, save made, rebound chip free by Damgard for Poliuso. Curling with it along the near side boards. And he dips, he deals back. Back door. Damgard sends it wide.
Looks like the net might be slightly off the moorings back behind Casey Wu. No one appears to have noticed.
Vieira will retrieve in his own end. So Poliuso sets the new, at least this season high for goals in a game, breaking Cooper Spears' 4 in the season opener against Santa Rosa Junior College. The Gauchos look content to just skate out the final 40 seconds here. As Calcio drops it back. Piagai will tip forward for the angle play. You're going to go to talk to Mitch, right, Kyle?
I don't know who I'm going to be picking out this time. I've had one player in particular who's been badgering me for it before every single game so far this season, so I don't know if I'm going to give in to his pressure or not.
And a late goal for UC Santa Cruz, and who else has been the man responsible For all the offense for the Slugs tonight, Captain Jared Penner with 9.8 to go.
And Nora Penn raises the glove, acting as though, I don't know, maybe she kind of thinks that one was her fault. I couldn't really tell, but unless it looked like Penner was quite a bit open in the low circle next to her getting that lateral pass. So appears as though the last tickle of the twine here today is, after all, going to go the way of UC Santa Cruz.
And so, the most offensively explosive game in the history of the ice hockey at UCSB student organization, at least in the Ice in Paradise era, if not more, gives the Gaucho fans plenty of reason to wave the gold towels as UCSB improves to 7-5 on the season by virtue of a 20-4 victory over the UC Santa Cruz Slugs. It's a game where the Gauchos rushed out to score the first 5 goals of the game in just over 8 minutes. And from there, it was really a matter of seeing things through offensively and taking on and taking down a UC Santa Cruz Slug team that in its first year of competitive play in the ACHA has been learning lessons, but also given some of the fine young hockey players and hockey fans of Northern California an opportunity to compete and play at one of the highest levels of student organization hockey. And Kyle Nicolas is at center ice right now with our player of the game, who right now sharing a couple words with Michael Bogart. And you have to always appreciate this sort of sportsmanship after a game like this. And Pregame, I know, has to be happy about the opportunity to speak with Kyle in the postgame. As we throw it down now, Kyle Nicolas and player of the game, Dimitri Pregame.
Thank you, Eric. Down here with Dimitri Pregame. Dimitri, you got one on the board finally. How are you feeling?
Right, Mal. I'm feeling pretty good, Mal.
Hope you enjoyed that. That's how's that feel?
Feels pretty good, Mal. Coach finally saw my potential, Mal, and now he's got to look towards next week, Mal.
It's a little bit difficult to stay focused when you have games kind of like this one that it looks like it's going to be a blowout early. You put a bunch of goals on the board in just the first period. How are you guys going to reset when it comes to the next game, which is a very tough one? You guys are going to be on the road down in Anaheim playing the Chapman Panthers.
Well, Mal, we feel good, but we just got to refocus, get our boys back to practice, get our whole squad back. Got a couple guys out to injuries. Just got to get our minds right. We'll celebrate for now.
Absolutely. Thank you. Enjoy.
You know, I'd never, for the life of me, have seen a water bottle bath for a player after a game, but after the performance put on by Dimitri Pregame in ice hockey at UCSB tonight, celebrate however you please, young gentlemen, as Pregame finishes with 2 goals and also an assist unofficially. So much offense in this game for ice hockey at UCSB. You can highlight the 5 goals put up by Mitchell Pauliuso, a new season high for a single game for ice hockey at UCSB, and certainly it has to be up there amongst the historic performances by a student organization Gaucho hockey player. Hat trick for Justin Goldser. Dominic Colcio finishing with 2 goals. Greg Hyman having a good performance offensively. Kyle Nicolas, just so many different players having great performances tonight for ice hockey at UCSB. I think it would be a bit silly for us to try and come up with a 3 stars for a game in which UCSB wins 20-4 and just instead, give everybody the tap on the shoulder and said, well done, young men and women.
Well done, young men and women, indeed. Strong, solid performance all down the lineup. as said earlier, it's good to see Dimitri Piagai get on the board. Good to see some guys get some offensive contribution. Sometimes not the easiest thing to do, and as we mentioned, UCSB has a tough schedule ahead of them. They play the Chapman Panthers next, and then close the season out with a very difficult home-and-home series with the Cal Lutheran Knights, who, that was the last team UCSB played before this game. Didn't exactly go UCSB's way.
Yeah, at times, Blake Aguilar has been able to move through the ice hockey at UCSB defense like it seemed Mitchell Poliuso and that top line, Jesper Damgaard and Justin Goldser, were able to against a first-year student organization team in UC Santa Cruz.
Absolutely. So UCSB, it's a good thing to get the confidence back with a game like this one as well. A record-breaking night scoring 20 goals. You don't see that very often when it comes to hockey, really almost ever. So
yeah,
good to get the confidence back.
Not even in the 80s.
Not even in the wild and crazy 80s did you see something like that happen, really even ever. So good to see UCSB use something like this, down some of their best offensive talent. Hopefully by this point the Mooney brothers return. Hopefully UCSB gets a little bit more practice under their belt because they've got some stiff challenges ahead of them.
And Chapman already has defeated ice hockey at UCSB earlier this season, winning 7-4 here at Ice in Paradise and KHS Ice Arena, Kyle. That is one of the weirder facilities that you will see on the ACHA slate, very much in the way that the old Memorial Auditorium was in Buffalo. Not the uniform, full NHL-size rink that they play there. The end boards seem to come at you a little bit quicker. Everything is just that much closer. It's almost like playing in a shoebox and playing a team with a ton of talent in a uncomfortable place. Certainly is going to give the Gauchos a lot to chew on and a lot to think on before they head down to Orange County on Friday, January the 20th.
I think Coach Scott Hires is definitely going to speak a few words with the team. He's definitely going to try to instill in them that they need to refocus and resettle before that game. That is definitely a new challenge that they are going to be facing. And again, they're really going to have to find some sort of way to slow down the offensive force that is Heikki Veeranta in the next game.
Offense, the order of the night for ice hockey at UCSB tonight in the 20-4 victory. Fans, we remind you that you can listen to that game between your Gauchos and Chapman University. It's a 9:30 face-off, so as you're taking part in the evening with the Stanley Cup at Bacara Resort and Spa, coming back from that, shall we say, be sure to join us on the official audio-only broadcast for the Ice Hockey at UCSB Broadcast Network via MixLR. 9:30 face-off. We should have the pregame for you at 9:15 from Orange County for that one. But remember, you have the opportunity to get your picture taken with the Stanley Cup here at Ice in Paradise on Friday, January the 20th. From 4 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., it'll be here at Ice in Paradise. You can purchase a photo for $25 in advance or $30 at the door. First come, first served. Make sure that you can guarantee your spot to get a shot with Lord Stanley's Cup or join an evening with the Stanley Cup at the Bacara Resort and Spa. It takes place that night from 7 to 9 p.m. $125 per person. But with that, there's an open bar and hors d'oeuvres available, and maybe you just so happen to get to spend a little bit extra time with Lord Stanley, and he can tell you about the time that he got drop-kicked into the Rideau Canal in Ottawa, or he ended up in the bottom of Mario Lemieux's swimming pool back in the early 90s. Just menace some of the many crazy stories that have come with the celebration of that trophy. Thank you also to Center Ice Santa Barbara. Center Ice SB, center spelled the Canadian way.com, is the online home for the brand new hockey and figure skating retail showroom in Santa Barbara County, located at 7127 Hollister Avenue, Suite 8 in Goleta. Call 805-770-7970. Final thoughts, Kyle, before we get on out of here?
For UCSB, good to see them get out, keep their foot on the gas through that game, and try to limit the mistakes as best they could. A couple little mental lapses here or there, but welcome to the year 2017, Ice Hockey at UCSB fans. We're happy to be here, and buckle your seatbelts. We've got quite the stretch run in store for you.
The Gauchos opened 2017 with a 20 spot on the scoreboard, 20-4 to improve to 7-5 on the 2016-17 season. For my color commentator, Kyle Nicolas, for cameraman Jesse Gutierrez, and our technical director, Orlina Portillo, my name is Eric Evelhoch. It's been a pleasure bringing you this presentation of Ice Hockey at UCSB Student Organization. We'll be back with you next Friday, January the 20th, 9:30 face-off, 9:15 pregame for the Gauchos against Chapman from the KHS Ice Arena in Orange County. Until then, thanks for listening and have a splendid Sunday evening. Good night from Goleta.